The importance of this is that we're going to have a very short off season, right? We know that this off season is going to be short. If not, the season be short. We just don't know anything right now. And it's probably, going to be different depending on where you're at from place to place. It'll probably be different. So we have to have a plan to get everything in. Well, that's where JDFP Insider, that's where all of our coaching systems come in. We basically across the board use a 5-day install plan. It doesn't matter if it's pistol power offense. It doesn't matter if it's 4-2-5 defense system. It doesn't matter if it's 34, 3-3 stack. It doesn't matter if it's 4-3. It doesn't matter what it is. We're basically looking at a 5-day install plan for the base defense. And that's going to be so important because, number one, if you restrict yourself to a 5-day install, you know that you're going to be Coach Simple. And that's the important thing here. And that's the important thing. Whether that's your philosophy or not, that's your philosophy this year. Coach Simple. Coach Simple, because so your kids can play fast, you can win games. Because if you try to be as complex as you would be having 3 months of 7-on-7 and having spring ball and having all of these different things and summer practices and everything, if you try to do all that, you're really going to struggle. And just there's no way around it. It's going to be extremely, extremely difficult. So what we want to do is look at the 5-day install plan to where we can say, hey, this is what we can handle. This is what we can get in. And we can get it all in 5 days so that if, let's say, week 1 for you is the first week of September and you don't get to start practice until August 15th. By the way, that's the way that it used to be. So this can be done. The idea that guys are like, well, you need 6 weeks. No, you don't. You do not need 6 weeks. I know your players aren't in the greatest shape of all time, but they're going to come in. Their kids are going to come in fine shape. A lot of them have been working. A lot of guys I know have been working. You've got workouts and things that are going on, no weights. So your guys are going to be they're going to be fine. Like the idea that they need 6 weeks to get in shape is just they're kids. Like you may have a couple kids that can't jump right in there. Week 1, we've got some kids that, I would especially say kids with some weight issues. Maybe I would be more cautious. I would at least limit their play, especially, hot early in the season. But you don't need 6 weeks to get ready. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about 5 keys first to the 5-day install. Then we're going to go day by day through each day and exactly what you need to have. So as we go through these, just be it's flexible. We're talking all sorts of defense and the pistol power offense. I'm talking defense, but this applies to the pistol power offense as well. And it should apply to whatever you're installing. We're just going to focus on defense here. So the 5 things that you need to do. Number 1, you need to chart this out. So you're going to need to have a visual. Don't just sit down and, script it out on a notepad. I would get your entire staff in a room. I would make that big chart up on the board. Or in a spreadsheet or whatever, I know if you can't get your entire staff in a room, I would put it on a Google Drive spreadsheet and then I would get on a Zoom call, pull that up, share the screen. And that spreadsheet is in the 4-2-5 defense system. I think most of our systems have a spreadsheet in there for it. But it's definitely in the 4-2-5 and I'll put it down below this when we post this up in the Web Clinic archives early next week. So you've got to have a visual map. You've got to be able to see kind of, this goes here and this goes here, and it's got to be a living document. Like this is going to be here. This might be here on Monday, and on Wednesday it's not there anymore. This might be here. This might be here in August or in June, and then we realize, oh crap, we're not even going to practice until September. It's like, okay, now this moves here and this moves here. So you need a visual map and a living document to work on. What we do is we put, and I'll pull it up in just a second, we put the positions down the side, and I divide it up now by, defensive line, run game, and pass game. Defensive line is not going to have any pass game, right? They're going to all be, basically run game. Then I'm going to go linebackers, run game, and pass game. They're the ones that you really have to be aware of as we go through and talk about this. And I'm going to say, for the 4-2-5, I'm going to say safeties. For anything, I'm going to say safeties, run game, pass game. And then I'm going to say corners, run game, pass game, and what's going to be going in for them in the run game and the pass game. And just like with the defensive line, there's not really a lot of pass game, though there's some things that we'll put into the defensive line pass category. Corners aren't going to have, their primary run players unless you are split field quarters, in which case if you want to put in cloud checks. You want to put in a corner force check. That's going to be a run game install for your corners, at least for a weak side corner if you flip them. So, and then across the top, we're going to have the days: day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. And I'll have day 6 and day 7 because, like I said, it's a 5-day install for the base. There's still some little things that'll go in later on. Obviously, you'll be making adjustments all year long. It's not going to be, this isn't it. This isn't over. So the days across the top, this is basically what it looks like. And again, this document will be, it's posted in the main page for the 425 defense system. It's already there, but it's there now. Most of our systems have something like this, or if you look at the install plan, we draw up the chart in the module. But this is your basic 425 install. You're going to vary, like it was made, this spreadsheet was made when we did the new 425, but it's just been posted. It wasn't posted before. So, Terrence asked if it was new. It's not new, but it's just been posted. Yeah. I thought it was already up. So it's posted today. So defensive line, run and pass, linebackers run and pass, safeties run and pass, corners run and pass. Again, your install may not look exactly this way. It probably won't, but the chart is going to look like this. And again, this is a good thing if you want to work on your Zoom chat if you want to work on the install with your staff, get this spreadsheet, get on a Zoom call, share your screen, and start working on the spreadsheet together. So you can see, again, we have 7 days, but Monday, Tuesday, like those are optional things. I could install TigerCat on Friday, and I have installed TigerCat on Friday, but I don't need, when we say 5-day install, that's the base defense. Okay. That's the week 1. I need this. And I personally think that goal line is an overrated thing. Like how often the goal line actually works out, like for the amount of time that some people spend on it. Do you install certain formations or personnel? No, because the rules are there to defend everything. So like this has got to be, now when you chart, so when you look at the install plan, TigerCat we install to certain formations. No, not really. Everything is in there. It doesn't change, so I don't need to be like, here's what we do against this, here's what we do against this, here's what we do, because that kills the whole Coach Simple thing. Here's what we do, regardless of what you do. So there's a couple checks and things that you're going to do, but no. So in our schedule, in our practice schedule, you will have alignment to formations instead of team defense in the just refresh it if it locks up. So if you in the team defense section, right, in especially day 1, 2, and 3 when you're just in helmets, you are only going to what am I saying? You're only going to do alignment to formations. You're not going to play like a team defense. So that's where that'll come in. 2 is be realistic. If you start putting all this stuff in and it looks just overwhelming, it probably is, and it's definitely not going to work out. So be realistic in what you can get in. And the other thing is be realistic in what you can actually call. If you cannot get all this stuff in, then you're probably not going to call it in a game. Number 3 is expect adversity. Okay, you're going to have a practice, very likely to have a practice where there's lightning. Maybe maybe because of coronavirus and everything, maybe you're issuing helmets right there at the beginning of day 1. You're trying to get all the helmets issued, and it's just you cuts into your day 1 practice. If that happens, then you're going to have to cut some things. So expect something to happen and always have room to make adjustments in your 5-day install schedule. In other words, I wouldn't want this to be, I've got day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and I have a game on day 6. That's going to get hectic. But even if you do have that, I just make sure you have something built in. I've had a scrimmage on day 6. Make sure you have something built in where you can move things down if you need to. Okay. Number 4 is get staff input. Don't just go out there as the coordinator or as the head coach and hand everybody a schedule and say, here's what we're going to do. This is it. No discussion. Okay. When you put things together, you want to make sure that you have other guys involved with you. The other thing is that everybody has a different mindset. On the offensive side of the ball, I'm not a quarterback guy. I'm an offensive line guy. Quarterback guy looks at the run game and goes, we can do anything we want in the run game because all he does is turn around and hand the ball off. Offensive line goes, oh my God, I can maybe get 2 schemes in. That's why pistol power offense only has 2 run schemes. I can maybe get 2 run schemes in week 1. Okay, I can get power counter, which is 1 scheme with a little tweak for one guy. That's fine. And I can get zone scheme in with inside zone, outside zone, just changes the aiming point. Truck toss just basically flips the tackle and the tight end, gives the tackle something to do. So, I can look at that and say, okay, each guy has 3 things he's got to learn during the course of the week. I can handle that. If I am looking from a quarterback standpoint, I'm like, oh my God, that's a ton of passing concepts. So from the offensive line standpoint, it's like we have 1 pass protection. Like that's a you problem, bro. But you got to have everybody on the staff involved so that they can see exactly what's happening. Number 5 is see the big picture. When you're getting this install done, when you're putting this install together, it's going to be a major problem if like you're trying to install all this stuff and not realizing that I'm only going to call this blitz 1 time, or I'm only going to call this blitz in 3 weeks out of the year. If you're only going to call it against wing T teams, install it when you go play a wing T team. Don't install it in in your base. Like if you install the stuff, think about if you had a 3-team jamboree, right? And you don't know when you're playing 3 different teams and you don't know what they run. What do you need to have in? Okay, you don't need to have everything to win the jamboree. You need everything to play good. Looks like everything's good for everybody now. Okay, so good. And again, if you have questions, just post them in the chat box there, and I'll kind of stop and answer as we go. Day 1 install. Okay, on the day 1 install, what we want to make sure that we get done. Day 1 is about who are we? Who are you? Who is your football team? When people look at you, what do they see? What do they think? Okay, they should think something specific. A front, a coverage. Okay, are you a over front cover 3 team? Great. Are you a stack cover 1 team? Great. That's what needs to go in day 1. That's your base. That's who you are. Guys that just want to be multiple, like I want to do everything. That's not it. That doesn't work. You've got to have a home base. So what you want to do is define your identity from day 1. No matter what you do, and look, I might define my identity from day 1 as over cover 3, and at the end of the season maybe we're running a bunch of whatever we're running a ton of stack, we're running a ton of stud front, whatever. It can be multiple, and that's fine. And if you want to be multiple, if you want to look at being multiple, you got to make sure you're using the same terminology. If you're in, like, say you're in the 4-2-5 system and you want to add in a 3-4 front, I would strongly recommend that you, if you aren't already, make sure that you're on JDFB Insider. You can upgrade to that and get access to everything. And then you can see everything about that front, but we use very similar terminology because we run the same. What do you call, this is the question, what do you call when nothing is working? What is your fallback? What do you line up in when somebody goes hurry up and you don't have time to get the call in? And you're just going to line up in your base. What do you run? A good one to think about is, what do you run when you put the 2s or the 3s in? We all know that when the 2s or the 3s go in, you're not running the full complement. Like you're just over there going over 3. Okay, get out there and go. You're basic with those guys because they don't get to learn the whole game plan every week. So think about who you're going to be in day 1, and that's your focus. So in day 1, we're installing our best front. All right, if that is over front, or if that is stack front, stud front, whatever it may be, you put in your best front here, the one that you're going to be in the most. Like very few places in the world, I say that, maybe at my last job where the top 3 teams were wing T's that were on the schedule that we had to play, where we played 2 more double wings. Maybe I start out in under front if I'm 4-3, but that's probably the only exception. Everything else, I'm starting out in like over front, stud front, stack front. But if I was 4-3, I might tend to 4-3 under, and then over will be the changeup. So whichever one works for you, probably over stud or stack if you're running one of our defensive systems. We're going to put in our best coverage. Are you going to be a cover 1 team, a cover 3 team? Are you going to be a split field quarters? If you're going to be split field quarters, you're probably putting in 1 check here. Okay, you're probably going, all right, we're going to put in today, we're going to get We're going to get, I'm completely blanked out. We're going to get our Sky check in. Okay. We're just going to have Sky across the board. We know it's not going to be great if the defense comes out, if the offense comes out in doubles. Maybe you install Sky Blue. Okay. Maybe you install Sky Blue. I love underfront against wing T, Tar. That's why. I just really like it. You don't have to be, obviously. Like, that's just one of my things. Best coverage. Okay. And then, so best front, best coverage. This is not the time to be multiple. You're essentially going to finish day one with one call. It's going to be very boring if you decide to run a 45-minute team session. You shouldn't. Okay. Probably in helmets, but it's going to be a lot of over 3, or it's a lot of, strong. If you're in stack, you're going to be in a lot of like stack strong 1, whatever your base is. Okay. Whatever your base is, day one, you're getting that in. Day one, if I'm an odd front, I'm probably putting in like strong and weak. Okay. Toro aim slants. All right. I'm putting in Toro aim slants. That's it. I don't have anything else in on the defensive line. All they know is Toro and aim. Day 2, I can put in pinch, outlaw. All right. So we can start getting those things in. But this is not the time to be your crazy multiple defense, right? This is the time to be basic, to be simple. The key to day one, set day one up to be a good day. Install your basic, what you are, who you are. This is what they will remember the longest, because it's the first football that they've learned in 6 months, right? If they're coming out there and they haven't been on a field since the last week of February, or they haven't been out there at all. We've talked about Massachusetts, Washington, like you guys don't, like it's nothing for you. You just, it's normal. But if they get out there and like, okay, things open up August 1st, it's the first day that they get on a field, let's just say. And we're all hopeful of that at the very least. August 1st is the first day they've been on the field. They haven't been in March, April, May, June, July, 5 months. They haven't been on a field. This is the first teaching that they've had, the first thing they've learned. And I don't care if you've been installing on Zoom chats. What you install on the field is what's going to matter. I mean, that's what's going to be remembered. You want confusion to be limited. You don't want guys to feel like they're swimming at the end of day one. You don't want them to feel like they're lost. Everyone needs to leave feeling excited for day 2. Tony asks, how many indie drills did you introduce? Okay, good question. I would basically be, I don't have that many indie drills, right? So that's kind of the thing. D-line's doing key read drill. That's all they're doing. Whether you're doing it from a slant, I mean, that's what they're going to be doing for the next 3 months anyway. D-line's doing a key read drill. Linebackers, probably doing a guard read drill. That's basically it. We're going to go through our tackling. You're going to have a 15-minute tackling segment, 12-minute, whatever it is. You're going to be working on your tackling progression. But mainly we're going to have, essentially one drill: key read drill, guard read drill, ball up, ball down read. We probably won't even get into umbrella day one for the safeties. We're just going to be learning ball up, ball down. Corners, it depends on what you're doing. If you want to be a base cover 3, then they're just going to be working pedal break, pedal drive, pedal open, pedal drive, pedal open, pedal break, right? Reading the front shoulder read on the quarterback. Probably it. They're in cover 1. If they're in press a lot, if the corners will play a ton of press, then they're working just their press progression. I would work, I would work slide, I would work kick, and then I would work open. That's basically it. That's just their press progression. You're going to have about 8 minutes. Because you're spending so much time on tackling. So the actual install is basically your team time, and then you're just aligning the formations. That's what I'm trying to get done in day 1. Day 2 is time to change it up a little bit. Okay, day 2, we're going to get one more look in there, on both sides. So we're going to put in another look. We're going to put in, a different front, but it's a simple change up. If you're odd front, you're not going to put in another front. Okay. If you're even front, 4-2, 4-3, you might put in G, probably G, because G progresses to Indian. Just, really, really simple, not a whole new front. We'll talk about in a second. Odd front, it's just going to be like a new slant. Like we said, Toro aim day 1, pinch, and outlaw day 2. or Indian and outlaw, whatever you want to call it. Make it simple. You're still not multiple. In other words, you do not want to go out there and day one, we're putting in over, and day two, we're putting in stud. Because you don't want stud in there until you can play over. Okay, that's a 3-4 look if you're 4-2. If you're stack, you don't want to go straight to your over front. Like, you don't even know how to slant yet. So going out there installing a shade is like, well, we got to be good at something first. Coach Dean says, do you base it around 2 to 3 offensive sets, pro eye and twins that dictates our install? Yeah, I mean, I would just give him, so from the 4-2 look, or from any look, but the 4-2, everything. I mean, we go into a lot in 4-2, but you really only have 3 looks, right? In general, you have pro. So this is important. You have a pro side, a twin side, and and then you can get trips. So, I mean, there's not that many offensive sets to worry about. Like, if you want to worry about the difference between split back, or you want to worry about the difference between gun and under center, and you're going to change something, then yeah, you get too much stuff going on. I mean, either there's a single receiver removed, 2 receivers removed, or 3 receivers removed, and we got a trips check. That's it. So no, we're just giving them formation. So I'll just go out there and line these guys up, put our offense out there, and we'll just start moving guys. Okay. We're aligning to formations. That's our team time. I can show them as many as they want because it's just 1 receiver removed, 2 receiver removed. Like, there's no difference to, let's say you're on the strong side. There's no difference to the strong side guy between 11 personnel where he's got a tight end and a split, and the other side has a 2 receivers removed, a slot and a split, right? There's no difference to him. To him, it's just, I got a tight end. All right. And then we go 2 tight ends, and then just, I got 2 tight ends. It's no different. So, I mean, you don't have to show them that many looks to get what you need. Just move guys around. There's not that much. I mean, we don't adjust that much to offensive sets. So it's like, we're not that concerned about it, I guess is the key. It's 1 receiver removed, 2 receivers removed, on the, your strong, well, if you're in an even front, your strong end plays a 5, a 9, a 6, whatever he does, depending on if there's a tight end or not. But if there's no tight end, it doesn't matter to him. I'm not doing a lot of wing stuff because that's a game plan thing. So I'm going to put him in my best defensive line stunt. And again, if you're odd, then so it's simple front change up like G. My best defensive line stunt's going to go in. So Toro aim, basic defensive line stunt. I'm sorry. Toro aim from the even front. Again, if we are an odd front, Toro and aim is the base, and then say pinch and out are going to be the next ones. Maybe a base blitz on day 2. Sometimes I put in a blitz. Sometimes I don't. I think maybe we could save this for another day, getting the base blitz in, but so it kind of depends. How much swimming are your guys doing? Especially, so when I say a base blitz, probably just an inside linebacker blitz. Like if you were, it's bullet strong, bullets weak. Inside linebacker on the strong side, inside linebacker on the weak side, bullets Mike. If you're odd front, okay. So I'm gonna have Mike, Mike, Sam, and Will blitz in an odd front. Just basic inside linebacker blitzes. Nothing fancy here. And I'm going to put in a new coverage. This is kind of the special thing for the day. If we are without 7-on-7, which we all are this season, you may want to wait another day. Normally, we're putting in day 1 something that we've been running since the beginning of 7-on-7 in March or whatever. So day 1 install is just like everybody go play. If that's not the case, now again, keep your coverage simple. For sure, if you are split field, I'd be like sky day one, and either maybe cloud or blue. I tend to either be cloud or blue most of the time on the short side. Not like constantly switching back and forth. And it really depends on the personnel of that corner. So day two, I'm getting that, whatever that twin side, short side is going to be. So I'm not doing anything really, really major here. If I've never, like if you're base one and you line up in three, it's not a big deal. If you're base split field, I'm probably just putting in the second check. And I'll adjust and put in my change-up coverage probably Friday. You may have to do a little work because you want some blitz coverages. Trips adjustment should be in. And again, I would just put that in your formation adjustments. Okay, 3 receivers, what do we do? And again, check roll, make it simple, get the trips adjustment in. If your survivor check from 4-3 is a little more complicated, I might just put in a check roll and then worry about my survivor check later, because you're going to have multiple ways to defend. You're going to have multiple ways to defend it. But if you feel comfortable with it, then I would put in your survivor check on day 3. I would go, if I was quarters, old school quarters, I would have like read, alert, survivor day 3, which is getting 1 check a day, and then my change up probably Friday. Always be aware of your linebacker. So this is where you get in trouble, because guys will start, because already you can see, okay, we've put in G front, which is not a big deal, but the weak side linebacker needs to be aware of when G is called, because if the tackle is lined up wrong, he needs to be able to move him. We put in a bullets stunt. Not a big deal. Okay, bullets is easy, but we put that in for the linebackers too. Then we put in a change-up coverage. Maybe we went from cover 3 to cover 1. Now they've got to play man coverage. It's not crazy, but that's a little more complicated. So what I'm looking at is, if I look at that chart, okay, that we'll pull up in a little bit again. If I look at that chart and I see like your linebackers are where, and your overhang safeties, that's where there's going to be a log jam of stuff. And on that note, you may want to have a separate column for if you're single high. You may want to have, or if you're 4-2 or 33, you may want to have, or 3-4 really. You may want to have a linebackers, overhang safeties, free safety if you really want to get granular on this. Just be aware that you don't overload them. Day 3. Okay, we're already on day 3 now. We've got our base coverage, base front. We've got our change-up coverage, change-up front in there. Okay, blitz day. Day 3 is blitz day. Okay, we're going to get some blitzes in here. That's why I'm not worried about necessarily getting it in on Tuesday, but by Wednesday, I want to have it in. So if Tuesday, I might install Bullets Strong, Bullets Weak. They're no big deal. But on Wednesday, if I don't install Bullets Strong, Bullets Weak on Tuesday, then on Wednesday, I'm going to install Bullets Strong, Bullets Weak. I'm going to install Smoke Strong, Smoke Weak. Okay, so I'm going to get all my single backer blitzes. If I'm in an odd front, let's say I'm in a stack front, I'm going to install Bullets Strong, Bullets Weak, Bullets Mike, Smoke Strong, Smoke Weak. Okay, I'm going to get all 5 of my linebackers, overhang safeties. I'm going to get them all their base blitzes in. Okay, this is going to be in. If you didn't get your change-up coverage in, you can get it in. I generally don't want to be, outside linebackers as well. I mean, all of your linebackers can get in trouble by having too much stuff. I generally don't want to be over. I just want to make sure I don't want to overload anybody when we do this. Change up coverage if you need it. That's the basic things here. We just don't want to overload. So we want to have Wednesday. We want to have a simple change up front. Wednesday's a good day. Okay, Wednesday's a good day, and it's most likely the end of the day on Wednesday is when your guys are most likely to feel like they're swimming, because even though we are not installing anything major, if your guys are brand new to a system especially, they're learning something new every day right now. Now, they're going to back off quickly. But at the end of day 3, you can look at your guys and be like, we've basically got it in, right? We've basically got this done at the end of day 3. We can relax a little bit now. So we want a simple front change up, again, a G front. Here's the only reason I'm doing a simple change up front on day 3. we really haven't done anything. You may not have one if you're just running a base 33 or 3-4. You're just slanting out of the base. You may not have anything to install here. I probably wouldn't go multiple yet. I'm probably not lining up. If I'm odd, I'm not lining up in an even front until week 2. Okay. If I'm even, I'm not lining up in an odd front until week 2. Okay. Maybe after the first scrimmage, even, just depending on what your schedule looks like. Simple change up front. So something like just the defensive linemen aren't doing things. So like we're going to put in Indian here. All right. Especially if we didn't do that already, we'll just put in, Indian. So we're going to have over G and Indian. They're so similar. It's no big deal. Basic defensive line stunts. Again, here's where I might do, if I did Toro and aim already, I might do echo strong and echo weak. If I've got my odd fronts, I might have just been Toro and aim day 1, and I'm not putting in pinch until day 3, and I'm not even worried about outlaw because I never call it. All right, I just never call it, very rarely. Basic blitzes need to be in at the end of day 1. Basic blitzes need to be in. So your day 3, I'm sorry. So your bullet strong, bullets weak, we just talked about that. Smoke strong, smoke weak need to be in. Terrence says, are inside linebackers my guys? Should I separate run and pass on different days? I mean, it just depends on what's being installed. Like if they're installing cover 3, you've got to have cover 3 in. Like you've got to have pass drops in. I don't think so. Like really, we're going to have a pass period. So in our schedule, we're going to have like a 7-on-7 schedule. And again, in the real world, not the world we're living in today, they've been doing pass forever, right? They've been doing 7-on-7 most places. I wouldn't worry about it. Here's the key. I would get their run stuff in. And if they look like crap in 7-on-7 or they look like crap against the pass, whatever. You're an inside linebacker, right? Inside linebackers don't get their position because they're really good at coverage. No. So I wouldn't worry about that. Here's what I definitely wouldn't do. I definitely wouldn't have a pass day. Your guys are 80%, 90% run players. So that's a waste. You might just, you focus on it 7-on-7. 15 minutes of tackling day 2 and day 3, I would. Yeah, at least 10. 2 periods. We're going to be moving it to pre-practice soon. And we'll be doing 10 minutes of tackling in pre-practice 2 days a week for the rest of the season. So, yeah, I'm probably still working a tackling session. Yep. And the 90-minute install schedule is up as well. There's a new install practice plans that have been posted in the 4.2 at the top. If you're 4.2, if you're not, I'll probably be updating those install schedules someday. It'll happen. But if you have questions, just ask. You can post in the forum. Probably if you post in the forum, I'll actually go and do it for you. Secondary review. So day 3, ideally, I'm not putting in anything new because I got in 2 coverages already. If I need to put in a coverage, I'm putting in a coverage. But ideally, they're just going to be working on coverages we already have in, right? They're not putting anything new in on day 3. We're not, we don't go cover 1, cover 3, and then we're going to put in cover 2. Like it's just too much stuff. Ideally, at the end of day 2, they basically got in what they need to have in. I might be putting in my trips check. Okay. If I went read, alert, survivor, putting in my trips check. I might be putting in a 3rd check. Maybe if you want to go sky, blue, cloud. Okay. If you want to get all of those in, if you want to have all of those, that's okay. If you had no 7-on-7, which is likely for you, then day 3 is probably just second coverage. So I'm probably like day 1, cover 3, and then we're getting extra reps of it on day 2 because they need it. Day 3, I'll put in a second coverage. Okay. Day 4. Okay, in day 4, and look, one of the things about this is they haven't learned everything at the end of day 3. They've heard everything. They're not perfect at the end of day 3, and that's okay. Because remember, at the end of day 5, we're basically done. Yeah, we might, we got some little exotic blitzes. We got some, but the base defense, who we are, what we need to be is done at the end of day 3. And so if they haven't mastered it yet, that's okay because install is essentially over. We're picking up the pieces now. Day 4 is a review day. Now, I don't know how it is everywhere. Everywhere I've talked to, pretty much this is the way it is. In Virginia, day 1, day 2, day 3, we're in helmets only. Day 4, we add a piece of equipment. Every time you add a piece of equipment, it like pushes stuff out of the brain. So I don't want day 4 to be a big install day. So this is the first day we're in shells, light bulbs, whatever. We're in shoulder pads. Okay. You add a piece of equipment. Everybody forgets things. So we're going to be heavy review on day 4. So remember, we've got to leave room for error. We're not cramming this thing full. So we have room for flexibility to where if we had practice rained out because of lightning on Tuesday or Wednesday, that's okay. I've got a little room to work here and a review day. So make sure day 4, you leave some room for flexibility. I want to get in some front adjustments. Okay. I want to have any adjustments that I haven't talked about. I just want to make sure they're solidified. If you've been working these already, if you've been working double tights in your formation segments, a lot of times we'll just kind of mention them, but then we're not going to really get them installed. So make sure some of this is like you've already talked about it, but just make sure that it's solidified. Make sure your 2s know it. Make sure your 3s know it. How do we line up heavy check? Okay, if you're a 40 front, how do we line up heavy check? 4-3, 7 call against Trey, right? We need to have this ready. We need to know this is happening. Okay. What are the things that are going to change? Odds are still focused on slanting. I'm probably not putting in, again, I'm still probably not putting in a secondary front. If I'm, odd to even or even to odd, I'm not making that kind of change until the following week. So we're just kind of solidifying, hey, does everybody know what to do? Another one would be your slide check. Okay. Overshifted tight end, we call slide. Trips, if you want to slide to trips, you want to make sure that that's in here. But if we get an I formation, okay, tight end, we tend to run to the strong side, we can slide that. Or offset I, we're going to slide that. Okay. A near formation, we want to slide that. So just be prepared for those kind of unbalanced looks. Be ready to slide those. We're going to get in any coverage checks. Okay. This is a good day to work. Most of your guys, fiddles, you pretty much know what the fiddles are. Okay. Fiddles are 2-on-1s. That's like your linebackers on the back in cover 1. Those are not a big deal. They should already be in. Your banjos, though. Your banjos need to be in. So that's your 2 receivers that are close split, like less than a 5-yard split, and you're in man coverage. Your stacks, things like that. This is what we want to work here. Our 2-on-1 type of check, or 2-on-2, where, hey, I've got the guy going in, you've got the guy going out, or I've got the guy going in or vertical, you got the guy going out. And we need to work off of those. So this is a good day for your coverage guys to be working on that and working on how you're going to handle your fiddles and your banjos. If you're going to flip, make sure that they know flip check. Make sure that that is in here. Okay, make sure that we have it done. Your check roll has got to be in by now. Should already be in, but your check roll has got to be in by now. So we're reviewing these coverage checks so that we can limit the mistakes. And we want to have our motion adjustments. Okay. So we want to be moving from 2x2 to 3x1, check roll, check roll, check roll. They come back, boom. Okay. We go check 1, or check 3, or check whatever back to what we had in before. Okay. So we want to be working with adjustments. Okay. We want to be knowing that in man coverage, we're going to bump. Okay. If they motion, across, that we're going to bump that man coverage. If they're in slot check and he comes across, I'm going to bump the motion. Okay. I don't want to see guys, because the guys will go running with guys across the field. That's today, Mike. So coverage doubles to motion, motion and trips to doubles. Okay. That's your motion adjustments. So you're working that in your coverage checks. So these are the things that need to be worked out in this day. Okay. These are the things that need to be focused on with your coverage checks. You just need to be ready to do all this stuff. Okay. And again, we're moving with formations. This is probably going to be my 7-on-7 this day. Is all we're going to be doing is working on this. And I don't have to be perfect. I just need everybody to know it. Okay. I need everybody to know it. We're going to make a mistake when we go out to team. That's okay. Okay, we're going to make a mistake when we go to 707. That's okay. Just make sure you script some things for them to see it. I want to be perfect week 1. Okay, as close to it as we can be, not day 4 of install. Always, 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 the good thing about these review days, always, always, always leave room. Okay, that's the key here, is if you pack this schedule so tight that one little thing just blows it all to pieces, you're going to be disappointed with your install. No, not all trips checks. No. You're still just on your one trips check. You're still just on your one. Most of your other trips checks, they're going to be game planned. Okay, so they're not going in week 1. Especially not all. You maybe, if you want to put in a second trips check, if you feel really good about check roll, maybe you put in, whatever, a special or something like that, or a solo on the weak side. Maybe. But no, I definitely don't want to have all trips checks in, Terrence, because we're probably not that good at just straight up, our base trip check. We're probably not even good at that yet. Day 5, okay. So day 4 is basically a review. It's a lot of stuff probably already been done, especially if you had 707, all that stuff, coverage checks and stuff's already been done. We're just reviewing. I want day 4 to be left to be a true review for us. And then we get to day 5. So if we're doing Monday through Friday, this is Friday. Again, no major change on Friday. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell these guys, remember, we haven't put in any major changes since Wednesday. And at the end of the day on Friday, I'm going to tell these guys, hey, dudes, defense is in. And there's nothing else. The base defense, who we are, there's nothing else that needs to go in. There's nothing else that has to go in. Okay. The only thing you're not going to have in at the end of day 5 that you're definitely going to be putting in is goal line. And if you want to put goal line in, you can. But to me, there's not enough value in that. I can put that in later. I'm not going to practice it very much anyway, right? We're not going to let them do 100 snaps of goal line. I want to make sure when they leave on Friday, I want to make sure that they are feeling confident. So remember, we're Coach Simple. Coach Simple, play fast, win. Coach Simple, so that your kids understand what they're being asked to do and they have confidence to do their jobs. Okay? Confident kids play faster, more aggressive, all those things. It looks aggressive. They're not like mean all of a sudden. They just know what they're doing. Confident kids play faster. Faster kids win more games. That matters to me more than anything else. If you're questioning whether we can get this in, don't put it in. Okay? At no point when you're installing this stuff should you feel like, man, this is a lot. I don't know if they're going to get all this. At no point should that happen. Make sure we're feeling confident. The base defense is done at the end of the day. I mean, really, it's done already. The base defense is done. Remember, at the end of the day 3, we said it's pretty much in. Okay, we're ready to play a game when we walk up. When we leave Friday. Now, you may not have been in full pads yet. Here in Virginia, you would be in full pads yet. Okay, but I get them out there and do a couple of tackling drills in full pads. We've been tackling all week, right? As far as lining up, as far as, whatever, we're ready to play a game at the end of day 5 if we had to. We don't want to. Like, I'm not encouraging you to set up your schedule so that you only have 5 practices before the first game. But if it happens, we could live. We could do it. I might put in, if you like them, you don't have to. And I've had many years where I haven't done any. But if you're going to be doing a lot of, say, eat, text, twist, tattoo, any twisting on the defensive line, this is where I just teach. This is where I just teach the basic twist game. Okay, whether it's an echo, whether it's an eat, who's the penetrator and who's the looper. So I might work some footwork in here. Okay, probably during my pass rush period for the defensive line, probably during that time where I don't need to do one-on-ones every day. Not in this time. Okay, there'll be plenty of time for that. Neil, where you can find info on linebacker slide checks? So it's not an automatic. It's something that probably when I do the segments on RPOs, it'll be in there because I don't worry that much about it. Because when's the last time we saw offset eye? I have no idea. Because it's really what we use to RPOs now, to 3x1s that run RPOs. So it's very likely that we're just going to game plan it rather than putting it in at the beginning. I don't know an exact spot where it's going to be, except I would say in the spread option stuff. I think we talk about it a little bit with sliding those guys over. The spread option in the 4-2-5. Because that's the only time I do it is 4-2-5. I don't do it 4-3. I really don't do it in stack. Definitely don't need to do it in stud. I really don't. We do it some, not a ton. It's more of a game plan thing. So I don't know. It's not like a base module. If you want to put in a new front, if you don't want to do defensive line twists, if you're ready to jump into be multiple now, you can. Okay. If you really, really want to, I would probably wait. But if you really, really, really want to go be multiple, you could do it on Friday. I'm hesitant. The key here is it's got to be one of those things that doesn't affect anybody else. So, for example, going from the 4-2 to the 3-4 to the stud front, where all I'm going to do is slide those guys down a half man, and then we'll go work stunt footwork. I could do that. Where I'm going from the 3-4 or going from over to under. Another example, okay, where one guy is changing. Everybody else is playing a shade. I can become multiple on day 5. I would not, if you're new to the system, I would not, if you've got young guys, I would not be in any hurry for that. I would just put it in as a game plan later on in the season, okay, or when you decide you need it, week 1 maybe, okay. But I would not be in any hurry to get in a new front. But if you feel good, this is where you can line up in from over to under. This is where you can line up in the 4-3. This is where if you're 4-2, you may be able to go to stud front or stack front because it changes one guy and vice versa. You may be able to go from stud front to a 4-2 look. You may be able to go from 33 to a 4-2 look because they don't affect your coverage really. Okay. And again, if I did that, I would just be running stud aim if I'm going from 4-2. Because I'm not going to start dropping my Sam backer off into coverage yet. It's too much. You can get an exotic blitz in. And again, I'm not going to do all of these things. Okay. I've used this day to install Tiger Cat. I've used this day to install goal line. But again, I usually just do goal line later. Do it Monday or Tuesday the following week. Usually Tuesday the following week. A lot of times it's like the Wednesday before the first game. Like I'll go into scrimmages all the time without it. I go into scrimmages all the time when they'll go on front. Blitz day. I'm going to, if I want to be a big time zone blitz team, I might put in a zone blitz and just start learning the drop. If I'm going to be a big time zone blitz team, cover 3 is already in. Okay. So now I'm just, or this might be the day. If it's not in, then I know that I'm installing 3 under 3 deep. If I'm a quarters team, I might be installing 3 under 3 deep fire zone coverage here. That's going to make my Friday a little more hectic. But if you're doing that, then you should have some experienced guys, so you should be okay. Okay. Again, it's different when you're installing with young guys or new to the system than if you've been running for years the same defense. Same thing if you've been playing 7-on-7, okay? Then adding a coverage in is not a big deal because you've been working it all year. So maybe an exotic, maybe fire zone, maybe Tiger Cat, depending on what you want to do. I haven't run fire zone for a couple of years. I haven't run a lot of fire zone for a couple of years. I mean, for the last couple of years. I was just out of fire zone. Just run Tiger Cat and run our base blitzes with man coverage behind it. So that was just depends on what you want to be. If you want to run a ton of fire zone, like if your first year, again, you're not going to run a ton of fire zones, Tiger Cat, and everything else. You might run some fire zones. That's okay. But I can get fire zones in as a game plan blitz. I can put that in on Monday if I want to. Or I could put Tiger Cat in on Monday. And I'm going to make sure that any alignment adjustments are finalized. Just make sure, again, review them all. Make sure that everybody knows where to line up. And just always leave room. And I'll get the questions here in just a second. Always leave room. Okay, that's why I don't want to look back in. A lot of times you tend to look at, okay, we did some review on day 4. Let me load up day 5. Well, the problem is they're going to leave on Friday, and come back on Monday. Okay. And I do sometimes have a day in there. A lot of times because we don't start on Monday, we start on Wednesday, Tuesday, whatever. Like 2 years ago, I refused to start practice before August 1st. So I told them we're not starting July 28th whenever the first day of practice was allowed, but that we had to come in on that Saturday just to get a day in, last day in pads. We came in for an hour. We did special teams. Everybody went home at 10 o'clock in the morning. It was fine. We're not going to have an install day that day. It's not going to be included as part of the 5-day install. So we're not usually in on Saturday. So if you leave on Friday, you come back on Monday, they're going to forgot some stuff. So it's tempting to say, well, we reviewed on Thursday. Let me put a bunch of stuff in on Friday. But you can get yourself in trouble doing that because a lot of it's going to be forgotten. And remember, when you come back on Monday, if you're like us, you're going to all of a sudden have pants on now. Adding a piece of equipment pushes stuff out of their brain. So be careful with it. At the end of Friday, the base defense is in. It's done. You're going to tell your guys, hey, if you're swimming, if you're confused, if you're lost, the base defense is in. Right? We've got it done. Coach Stevens is still searching for the best slant teaching drill tool. It's still read drill. It's still key read drill. We don't do anything different. I don't do anything different. Line up, head up, and I slant. Remember, we're trying to make contact with the guy. We're trying to step and contact him. So I slant. That guy goes down inside. I'm bending down inside. Okay. If that guy tries to reach me, then I'm just trying to fight to keep my reach. It's still key drill. We don't do anything different. We don't do anything different. It's still key read drill. Key read drill is the same whether I'm slanting from a head up or I'm playing from a shake. Key read drill is the same. And that's all the defensive linemen do. And I think the problem is, like, if you're not, depending on the technique that you want, I've done a billion different things where we slant, grab a hose, run down the line, all that sort of stuff. But it's just key read drill. A defensive line coach should be, my defensive line coach, if we were going to practice for more than, if you were going to have more than 8 minutes of Indy in a day, he would be bored out of his mind. They would be bored out of his mind. But they're running down there, key read drill for 4 minutes, and then or 8 minutes, and then it's over. Okay, they're not there all day. They'd be bored to tears if they were, to tears. But they're not there long enough to do it because we're only practicing 2 days a week. Key read drill, 16 minutes. They'll be fine. Tiger rules what the probably won't have time today, but we'll do. If you want to post it in the forum, I can go over Tiger Cat rules in the 3-4. If you want to post that in the forum, or we can do it on a Q&A. I don't think we have time today because we're already over an hour. When you install Fire Zone, yeah, that's what we said, Friday. Friday if you want to. Otherwise, I'll just do it as part of a game plan, like Monday. So we got that one. Little stuff can wait. So again, I think Fire Zone's little stuff. Unless you run a ton of it, then it needs to be in. Okay. But to me, I can just get an exotic blitz in game plan. I'm only installing one. Even if I do install a Fire Zone, I'm only installing one. So I'm not installing. No, am I installing like everything in the playbook? Absolutely not. Little stuff can wait. I'm not in a rush. Goal line, Tiger Cat. I move those to Monday, Tuesday. I want to know at the end of day 5, when we say 5-day install, I want to know at the end of day 5, can I go play a game right now? If you feel like you can't play a game without goal line, I would install goal line on Friday. If you feel like you can't play a game without 7 fire zones, 6 coverages, 19 fronts, you got to address some things because you're doing too much. So again, here's what that. And every time, like if you ask me to sit down right now and go over an install for 4-2, it's going to look different. Your team is going to sit down and put together so this is not the install for 4-2. Okay. This is an example. Use the spreadsheet, delete everything and start working through it. Have a list of here's the things that we need to have in and let's just start putting them in. Okay. I'd have a list over here of what we want to have in the playbook and then have my spreadsheet out. This goes here. This goes here. Okay. What can we do on day 1? What can we do on day 2? So this install schedule, okay, you can see Monday we got Tiger Cat, Tuesday we got goal line. All right. I'm generally thinking the key is On the end of Friday, I just need to have our base in. It's got to be set. Now, here's 7 mistakes that we cannot make, okay? And we'll wrap it up. 7 mistakes that you must avoid. And if you avoid these mistakes and you go through your playbook, you follow the things that we talked about, and you avoid these mistakes, you're going to have a quality install. And that's what we want. It's not about having everything that will ever call in. You get to game plan every week. You get to work on things every week. Okay. We don't want to do a lot, but we can do small stuff. And usually the 5-day install, we're not playing a game the next week most of the time, right? Most of the time we're not. You may be, and you'll be okay. And that's all I want to do is be okay. I want to have an install. To me, a successful install is I can go play a game and my kids feel good about it. They feel confident. They don't make mistakes, a ton of mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. Okay. Don't rush to be multiple. Don't be in a rush to be multiple. If you feel like it's too much, don't do it. Okay. Be ready to throw things out on install if you want to. If your kids are picking everything up because they're ready to be multiple, then you'll feel ready to be multiple. But don't be in a rush. You do not have to get that second front in. Be good at something. Be somebody. Have an identity. We can be multiple front, but we don't have to be multiple front today. We can get there. The first time I installed stud front took less than 10 minutes. Okay. Took longer than it should have, but I'd never done it before. I was making it up as I went along. So 3-4 look. But it was week 8 and it worked pretty well. Okay. Because really we're just sliding everybody over one. But I did it in week 8. I might wait until before my first spread team if I don't want to run a ton of stud against, wing T or power I or whatever. Too many coverages. Okay. Do not have too many coverages. If you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I don't know what you're doing. Okay. Too many coverages. Base coverage, secondary coverage. So you cannot call, first of all, you're a high school coach. Most likely, some places are different. Most likely, you don't have but a handful of teams on the schedule that can even throw worth of crap. Okay. That can really throw the ball or that really want to throw the ball. Most teams want to run the ball. So you don't need 9 coverages. If you got too much stuff to call, you got too much stuff. Number 3, you ASCA too much. Okay. Meaning that you're not considering ASCA. You're not considering alignment, stance, key, and assignment. And you're installing all of these things and not thinking about how many things, especially on an individual basis. When we said, look, make sure you look at the linebackers, make sure you look at the overhang safeties, especially on an individual basis. Make sure that when you go through this, you're thinking about, and if you want to get really, really detailed, I could ask everybody, okay? I could ask everybody, every position. But I should be at least this is something that position coaches, this is why you need to have your entire staff involved. Okay, this is why your entire staff needs to be in JDFE Insider, okay? Get a staff pass. Get upgrade to, if you're not on an annual, okay, upgrade to annual. Just send a message of support. They'll get you upgraded to annual, and your entire staff has logins for it. Everybody needs to understand ASCA. Everybody needs to understand umbrella. Everybody needs to understand levers. Everybody on the staff. And my position coach should be able to look and say, well, asking my guys a lot. They've got 19 different assignments to do, and we're only in day 4. That's too much. Okay, so make sure you're looking at ASCA and make sure you're not asking too much. Number 4, you've got a packed schedule, no buffer. Again, expect adversity. Things will happen. Things will happen. If a day of lightning ruins your entire install, then you were not expecting adversity. 4 days of lightning, I don't know what to tell you. You can't get the whole thing in a day, right? But I've got enough buffer where I could probably do it in 3. It's not going to be ideal. We go into the gym, work some things. Okay. It's not ideal. But if my entire schedule is going to be ruined by some adversity, it's not good. Number 5, you focus on blitzing. If all you're worried about is how am I going to get all these blitzes in, I'm going to put in what the big thing is. For example, when we talk about fire zones, okay, if I'm putting in fire zones, I might say, I really like America's Fire Zone. Okay, I really, really, really want to run America's Fire Zone. Okay, So I'm going to get that installed because I really, really like it. And it's going to teach everybody. Everybody's going to know what a cut step is, what a long cut is. We're going to know we're going to have a defensive end dropping if that's what we want to do. All those things are going to be taken care of. We're going to be in a great situation with that. But I'm not installing anything else. In other words, I'm not worried about, I need to get, wham, machete, scissors, famous. I don't have to get all that in. I don't have to get 19 different blitzes in. I'm probably not going to get fire zones and Tiger Cat in. That's okay. I tend to focus on one or the other. If I'm going to do a ton of fire zone, I may not have Tiger Cat. And if I'm going to do really, really call a ton of Tiger Cat, I've tended to go away from zone blitzes. I haven't run a lot of zone blitzes recently. Number 6, this is hard for us because we all grew up doing 2-a-days. If you do 2-a-days, you do 2-a-days. That's fine. But I'm in the no 2-a-days camp. I don't see any need for it. I think it does more to break down the bodies of these kids. Remember, guys, the body does not get stronger working. The body gets stronger recovering. So come in and have fast-paced, high-tempo practices and then give them time to recover so that their body can get stronger. These guys, if you think that because you haven't had practice since March, you've got to come in and practice 6 hours a day to get them ready, you're breaking down their body. When are they going to recover? None, because you're going to do 2 days and then you're going to go into game week. They're never going to recover. You're better off having fresh players fly around, have high-tempo practices, and give kids a chance to recover. And number 7, wasting time. Just in general, long practices, the biggest thing is installing stuff that you're never going to call. The biggest mistake you can make in an install schedule is wasting time. You want to have short practices. Okay, 2 hours. You don't have to be 90 minutes. Okay, 2 hours is fine. I love the 90-minute practice plan. 2 hours should be plenty for you, though. Okay, I mentioned we just have a special teams day. Okay, none of this 90-minute practice. We came in on that Saturday and went over all our special teams. Special teams in. Okay, we had 1 hour practice, installed everything. I would come back on that Monday maybe and do a 1 hour practice, get all special teams in Tuesday, Wednesday. Any little installs you need to do, and then Friday you're ready to go. So we're not wasting any time. Questions. So that's basically it, guys. Follow those things. Stay on schedule with that. You're going to have a good install. You're going to have a successful install. Let's see. Tony, how about a 2.5 hour outdoor practice and the rest 1 to 2, then indoor 1 hour walkthrough? What do you mean, like during the week, like for the whole week? Monday's 2.5 hour, and then the rest are 1 to 2 hours, and then 1 hour indoor walkthrough. That'd be fine. I know some guys like to do camp, so I get that for 2-a-days. All right. I mean, I get that. Like if you're in camp for 2 or 3 days, fine. Just be mindful of the fact that when you come out of camp, I know you'll have your guys live there for 3 days. I get that. Be mindful. You don't need to I just think a lot of times you're trying to break your guys down, and be very mindful of it. Have a weight session. Okay. Have a weight session, have a walkthrough, have a special teams, and then have one practice. That's okay. Going out 7 a.m., clanging and banging for 2.5 hours, special teams walkthrough after lunch, and then at 4 o'clock we're back on the field for 2.5 hours. First of all, it's probably illegal in most states now. Second of all, they cannot process that much information. So, that's why we talk about this. When we put together an install schedule, I'm not worried about how much practice time I spend. I'm worried about how much they can actually process and learn, right? and they can't process and learn that because they got to learn in offense too. Most of us, they've got to learn offense too. So just got to be very careful about it. Bill asked, which day did we go over the umbrella concept? All days. I mean, that's probably on a chalkboard before we leave, before we walk on the field day one. So we're probably going to meet. A lot of times there's going to be a meeting ahead of time. We'll put some things in on the board for 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to say that umbrella principle has already been discussed. And then it is just part of what we do. Then there's no period where I install it, but it's probably on the board. And then it is talked about for the rest of the year. Like it is constantly talked about. So like, let's say day one, day one, we're like rushing to get helmets out to the guy. Like a lot of your guys already have helmets. They've already been issued some equipment. And then you've got like a handful of 8th graders who are still getting equipment. You're about ready to go. I'm probably coming in at 6 o'clock. So this is the schedule day one. At 6 o'clock, we're meeting. Cleats on, helmet in hand. At 6 o'clock, we're going to meet. 6 to 6:15. And that might be when I talk umbrella. I'll talk, hey, here's we go over front, umbrella. All right. 6:15, we're going to the field. So, there's not really a pre-practice. Pre-practice might be that. And then we'll establish pre-practice. Day 2, we'll say we're on the field at 6 o'clock. That's usually what I do. Okay. Day 2, we're on the field at 6 o'clock. Yes, Kenny, it will be on video next week on Web Clinic Archives. All Web Clinics get archived. It just takes a few days to get them up. But it'll be up in the Web Clinic Archives for sure. 6 to 6:15 meet. Grab your stuff, get on the field. Maybe I do pre-practice at 6:20. I mean, if it shouldn't take 5 minutes to run out, depending on how far away your field is. All right. No, I like to go night practice at 6 o'clock. All right. So 6:10, I say, all right, you got 5 minutes, get on the field. Boom, we're out on the field now. We're pre-practice 6:20 to 6:30. Maybe I do that as my team tackle time. Then we do warm up. Okay. Then we go, tackling circuit or tackling progression for 10 minutes. Then at 6:30, we start our 90-minute clock. 6:30 to 8 is our 90-minute practice. And then at 8 o'clock, captain's conditioning. Bye-bye. Yeah, I'm walking off the field at 8 o'clock. Expect our captains, our squad leaders to run some conditioning, and we're gone. That's what practice is going to look like for me. All right, guys. Appreciate it. If you have any questions, post them in the forum for sure. Definitely post them in the forum as we go through the next week. We'll have another one scheduled. I'm going to put this up just. Q&A coming up soon. Okay, so, but I want to talk about this 5-day install plan. This is so important. It is, because you are already a part of what we're doing, because you're already a part of 4-5 defense, 3-4 defense, 33 stack defense, 4-3 defense systems. Okay, because you're already Coach Simple, play fast, win. You're ahead of the game. Okay, you are ahead of the game because you understand Simple. You understand we don't need to overload our kids, and I'm not losing out on anything if our first practice isn't until 2 weeks before our first game. I'm fine. I'm fine with that. Our kids are going to be confident. They're going to know what they need to do because we're not overdoing it. We're not doing too much.